No. Go ahead, Mayor.
What's, it's 8:25 p.m. We've returned from recess, and we're going to pick up where we left off. I believe it was Councilman Kaji.
Thank you, Your Honor, and welcome back, Groundhog's Day. Thank you for the presentation. I had some comments about the city of Vernon, and I understand that the city of Vernon has a very small population, and it's mainly geared towards meeting the needs of its businesses. I have an interest in that particular model and the types of services that they do provide to its businesses, since it's my observation that, as my colleague, Councilmember Sheikh mentioned, it seems that the cost of adopting a Pasadena or Long Beach model is very capital intensive. But if perhaps we can look at the Vernon model and maybe learn from the types of limited services that it provides, and also if we can find out if the operation of their health department and environmental quality is revenue neutral, or even, a positive or slight negative. Perhaps that might be a model for us to consider rather than take on all the full responsibilities of a full-blown health department. But thank you once again for your presentation.
All right. Anyone else from the council have questions or comment? Councilwoman Lewis.
Thank you. I also agree with Councilmember Kaji in about the limited scope that we would have for our public health department. But my question goes on to say, I know this conversation came up right in the middle of us being in a global health pandemic. If something like that were to happen again, and we were to have our own health department, in your research, would we still be able to have the authority to make public health decisions if we were on that limited model without the quote unquote public health part? Or do we know that, or is that something that still would need to be researched?
Thank you, Council Member. In the research regarding the case with the city of Pasadena during the global pandemic that we are referring to, this public health department did need to be required to adhere to the state regulations. So in cases of emergency, the local health department would need to adhere to the state regulations. In terms of that limited scope in the case of the city of Vernon, that information is not something that staff has available at this time, seeing as how we have specialized in Pasadena and Long Beach.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Under the limited scope that Vernon has, is they also had to follow the state regulations as well. And Long Beach, I believe, well, I know because I actually work for Long Beach, they still did follow the state regulations. So they did not make a decision about any of the public health concerns either. We would also be able to do some of the, I know Pasadena had a fee listing on some of the things that they could charge for. In your research, did you make the determination on the Pasadena portions, particularly from the business part of it, of the fees that they collect? Are those revenue neutral, or does it add to, or do they break even?
So based on the research that staff has concluded, it has been estimated that those fee services are not revenue neutral. They actually do not cover the administrative costs and the services associated with those revenues. And the same goes with the city of Long Beach. The presentation has the fee for services for themselves as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Okay. Anyone else from the council? If not, I see a motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I did have the benefit of participating in the prior conversations and reviewing the prior conversations. And with all due respect, I totally understand why this was initially brought up. but we've reviewed it several times, and I'd like to make the motion that we accept and file and direct the staff to halt the research efforts on proposing the establishment of a city health department.
I was not a part of the council for the first three conversations, but did spend a great deal of time, over 60 hours, with Dr. Ferrer, medical doctors, and scientists over at LA County Public Health. And they're brilliant, and what they have access to is amazing. And while we were in the most restrictive county in the nation, and there are reasons for us to be hesitant and have looked into it, it does seem very onerous and very challenging for the benefit. But I agree with Councilmember Kalani and second her motion.
Start voting, please. Your Honor, that motion passes with Council Members Kaji, Matucci, and Mayor Chen voting no.
Okay, the council has spoken. Let's go. Let's see. All right. Okay, let's go on. Item 10C from the city manager and the community service director. Is there a staff presentation?
Good evening, Your Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight, staff is seeking direction from the City Council regarding the purchase of LA Dodgers 2025 game tickets to hold Torrance Dodger Day. Staff has advanced 3 game options with the Torrance Group Sales Office, Group Sales Office, seeking the lowest pricing and highest seating availability to keep Torrance attendees in one area. The recommended 1,050 tickets is informed by the sales totals for the past 2 seasons. The game and ticket options are Sunday, June 22nd versus the Washington Nationals, game time 1:10 p.m., 1,050 tickets costing $39,910. Sunday, July 20th versus the Milwaukee Brewers, game time 1:10 p.m., 1,050 tickets at $42,010. And Sunday, August 10th versus the Toronto Blue Jays, game time 1:10 p.m., 1,050 tickets at $33,610. In addition to those game day tickets, the city may also purchase an on-field opportunity for $500. The photo opportunity includes up to 30 people for a group photo session in the outfield of Dodger Stadium. As in prior years, the city may offer the Dodger Day tickets for resale to the community at a reduced price. For your consideration, staff has provided a table on page 2 of the report detailing reduced pricing from 20 to 50% for each of the 3 games. It is recommended that your honorable body provide direction to staff: 1, on the purchase of 1,050 LA Dodgers Day game tickets; 2, the purchase of an on-field photo opportunity; 3, selecting the game date for the ticket purchase; and 4, on the resale of the tickets to the community, potentially at a subsidized cost. Thank you, and we're available for questions.
Thank you. Any members of the public who wish to speak on this item, please come forward to the microphone.
Hello, this is Andy Porchap. This is another genius idea. You know, you have to be very, 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 very educated and, you know, whatever, smart and high IQ, because as I read this, you're buying 1,000 tickets for, let's say, I don't even know, just $50,000 or whatever, and then you sell it for maybe $25,000. So that's a great way to make money for the city. You know, that's how I bought my house. You know, I bought something from my neighbor for $5, and I sold it for $3 to the other. And then the $2 I lost, I bought the house, you know? So how stupid is this? And by the way, LA, what is it, Dodgers? That's making money for LA, you know? Los Angeles. It's not Torrance, Los Angeles.
Anyone else from the public who wishes to speak on this item?
I would say as far as public spending towards social goods and reinforcing community behaviors, it would seem like it would be a better opportunity to have something more local. Maybe have an event like at a park or something, hire catering, events for like families to participate in, something to kind of bring the community together rather than the passive experience of sitting at a ball game. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this item? I don't see any. I'm going to bring it up to the council. Councilman Matucci.
Thank you, Mayor. I too, I love the idea of Dodger Day and get the community together. But as we discussed last year, it was mentioned that I don't think the city should be subsidizing tickets in the tune of around $50,000. I think it's a reasonable ask that we purchase the tickets at obviously at the face value and resell them at the face value in an effort to recoup the whole amount, because there's still, I think there's going to be plenty of interest to go see the Dodgers at the full ticket price, considering the players that are there nowadays. So I really do think it's, I think it's nice that we've done it for many years, subsidized, but I think $38, $40, $32, depending on which game we pick, is still pretty reasonable, even if it's a family of four. I'd be more worried about buying a beer and popcorn. The cost of that is probably a lot more than this ticket. So, yeah, I'm all in favor of upfronting the money to buy the 1,050 tickets. But as far as reselling them, they should be at the face value so we can recoup that money and put it back in the general funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kalani.
Thank you, and thank you, staff, for putting this together again. And I had one question about item 2, the approve the purchase of the VIP on-field photo op. And I had always in the past thought that was included. I guess that does come with an additional price, which I think is reasonable. And let me back up and say that I feel that the subsidy we give and the fact that Torrance gets the name recognition in front of not only the people at the stadium, but all of the viewers on television, it actually equates to a very, very reasonable advertising cost for our city. So I'm okay with the subsidy, but what I would like to see happen with the on-field VIPs photo op is maybe draw tickets from the individuals that bought the pictures from us. I mean, the tickets from us, because we've all been down on the field, we've had our picture, but not everybody in the city of Torrance gets that opportunity. So I'd like to recommend that be some kind of resident opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the council have any comments or questions? Okay, if not, I think there's actually, as you're getting ready to do the motion, Councilman Matucci, there's another question, is also which date.
Mm-hmm.
So we also, if you have, if you're ready to recommend a date, hopefully.
And Mayor, if I may, just for Mr. LaRock, if we do decide, based on council direction, for the full value, should we consider reducing the number of tickets we purchase, since we have to pre-purchase these in a scenario where I think it'll sell, just we can always come back and purchase more like we did last year. Any feedback, Mr. LaRock, as far as your recommendation?
It's hard to know what the market will bear. These are some of the cheaper games in the Dodgers' schedule. They have raised prices quite significantly this season for obvious reasons. But obviously, there's a secondary draw at the suggestion of Councilmember Kalani that we have a randomized drawing, which we could manage through the ticketing process to select 30 guests to do the on-field. So there is a general motivation at that point then to buy a ticket. But it's hard to know the veracity of the sales demand based on the full price.
If I may recommend council authorizing 500 and up to another 500 based on interest. This way, we don't have to come back to council to purchase additional tickets. Thank you.
All right.
I have a quick question before doing my motion, Mayor. Have we cross-referenced these dates, if they, cross with some of our Torrance events?
We have these Sunday dates would only conflict with two of our summer concert series events in Wilson Park, which draw on average 300 persons. So there's not a major conflict there.
Okay. All right.
However, I think we had a meeting this morning.
Yes, Mayor. As noted in the report, there is the potential for Little League friendlies with Friendship City involvement in Torrance on August 10th. So the membership putting that event together indicated unlikely attendance at Dodger Day on the 10th because they are planning to see two other baseball games in Southern California during their time here. So in order to avail the council to attend any events during that potential friendship game sequence, we would recommend you avoid August 10th.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I'm open to either the June. Oh, you have a question?
We got two clicked in. Okay.
All right.
We'll just hang on. You still got the motion?
No. Yeah.
Okay. Councilwoman
There was
Kalani.
nobody when I did the motion.
Thank you,
Yeah.
and maybe I read this too quickly, but how much subsidy did we give in the previous years, please?
It averaged just over the 40% mark, as you see on the
Okay.
chart.
Okay, all right, thank you, that was my question, thank you.
Councilman Sheikh.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. LaRock, if we get, then we get in bulk, 5,000 tickets, we get higher discounted rate or?
No, as we've done in the past, Councilmember, we're able to buy 500, as the city manager suggested, and maintain that price for the second purchase block. It's just that the second purchase block, as we experienced in 2022, may not be contiguous seating location-wise to the first allotment of tickets. If you recall, for those that attended, the initial tickets were on the third base side of the stadium. The second allotment were on the first base side of the stadium. And obviously in the summer months, those are in direct sunlight and can be uncomfortable for guests. So, but we did advise people to make sure they were prepared for sunlight. But that is the only drawback to two installments, is the not being able to keep all the seats together in the stadium.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Councilman Tucci, you got a motion.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gravitating towards July 20th because it's after the schools let out. Maybe the whole families can go middle of the summer, nice warm summer evening. I would make my motion for the July 20th game. Pre-purchase 500 with the idea of selling them at full price. So I personally think we can sell those off real quick, knowing who's there and who plays. So that would be my motion. July 20th, 500 tickets and resell them at the full face value.
An additional 500 if there's interest.
An additional 500 if there's interest, yeah.
And then Councilmember Matucci, did you want to speak to the on-field photo opportunity purchase?
I like the Kalani's idea of making it.
To do the contest, we would need your direction to purchase the on-field opportunity.
Okay, so,
and then run the contest to select 30 guests to participate in that
30
photo.
guests, and we're going to make it open to the public.
We would randomly select those 30 persons.
Anybody
Yes.
that, okay. Yes, to the 30 pre-purchased. Yeah.
I second.
I have a quick question before we vote. Sorry. On the on-field experience, what happens if you get like a parent who wants to take a child?
Well, we sell when we sell more than one ticket, we can select that group of tickets.
Okay, so you would pull like.
Of course, we would not
that
separate
group.
families.
I'm just a question.
It's a very good question.
Start voting, please. Your Honor, that motion passes with Councilmembers Gerson, Lewis, and Shake voting no.
Okay, the motion carries. Item D from the Finance and Government Operations Committee. I believe Councilman Kaji, you're going to start us off with that?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Good evening. The Finance and Governmental Operations Committee met on Wednesday, February 26, 2025, to discuss the annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended 2023 to 2024, the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 mid-year budget review report, and proposed mid-year program modifications. The committee also received a presentation from the city's external auditors regarding the results of the city's audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended 2023 to 2024. As of December 31st, 2024, it is projected that the city will continue to improve its overall fund balance position, most notably with the general fund increasing by $14.6 million. This is driven by a $9.4 million contribution to the city's pension pre-funding trust and an overall expenditure surplus of $5.9 million due to vacancies across the various departments. The general fund operating funds revenues are projected to come in $1 million under budget, largely driven by decreases in utility users tax and charges for services from various plan check fees and inspection fees, partially offset by expected increases in transfers from the airport fund's non-aeronautical or land lease division. The general fund operating funds expenditures are projected to come in $4.8 million under budget. Expenditure savings are primarily realized from salary savings due to vacancies totaling 154.1 full-time equivalent positions. The Measure SST funds budget was originally adopted with a deficit of $2.3 million due to planned use of fund balance to support the city's capital improvement plan. Currently, the projected deficit is $955,000, primarily due to projected savings related to homelessness reduction efforts, as the city has been able to identify various grant funding sources to mitigate the need to use general fund resources to support these activities. Lastly, the committee considered and approved proposed program modifications from community development, general services, and public works departments across the general fund, water fund, and airport fund, which will have zero net fiscal impact to the city's budget. It is the recommendation of the Finance and Government Operations Committee that the City Council accept and file the annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended 2023 to 2024, accept and file the fiscal year 2024 through 2025 mid-year budget review report, and approve the proposed mid-year program modifications. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any members of the public wish to speak on this item?
Hello, this is Andy Porchop. It was a nice presentation. It covered all the 280 pages, and I apologize, I did not have time. I thought the meeting gonna be next week, so I did not study the 280 pages, but I'm sure Matucci did. And he realized it, we have unfilled position at the police department, unfilled positions in the police department. You defunding the police department by not hiring, not providing money. We have vacancies in the police department, Matucci, 16 vacancies. And last time you contradicted me. How come you don't have 16 positions filled at the Torrance Police Department? Nah, you can answer that now. And did you read the 280 pages? Did you read the 280 pages? What's on page 252? Did you? Or you just running your mouth? Just running your mouth like a little boy. You should go to college. It's not too late. Learn something. Educate yourself. and don't contradict people. The Torrance Police Department is understaffed. It took them.
Your time is up, sir. Does anyone else from the public who wishes to speak on this item? I don't see any. Councilwoman Kalani.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually wanted to use this opportunity to thank the voters that supported Measure SST. The numbers clearly speak to for themselves, and I'd like to ask staff, could you kind of walk us through what SST has contributed to the city and what would have happened if it had not passed?
Mayor, Council, Ian Daly, Finance Director. Measure SST certainly has been a lifeline to the city of Torrance. As noted in the mid-year budget review report, generates just over $25 million. For us, that allows us to pay for about $12 million in staffing related to the police and fire departments. Absent that funding, we would have significant reductions in programming and level of service in those areas. Additionally, we're able to spend about $1 million with respect to homelessness and cybersecurity initiatives. As noted by Chair of the committee, Kaji, we've been able to secure grant funding with respect to the homelessness efforts, so we've been able to preserve some of that funding for future year usage. It also has allowed us to contribute to our reserve funding, ensuring fiscal resiliency for years to come. And then most notably, this particular year, FY 24-25, $8.6 million was committed to the city's capital improvement plan to invest in community buildings and parks and things of that nature. So it's certainly been a significant contributor to the Torrance that we know as today. One point I would want to make, as part of the mid-year budget review report, I did point out identified gaps in funding needs growing. When we adopted the fiscal year 24-25 operating budget and capital improvement plan, we did note a recurring structural need for additional funding to address our capital plan. So with that, this will be a continued focus and discussion as we enter into the budget cycle for the coming fiscal year. But absent SST, there would have been significant impacts to us as a city and our operations as we know it.
Thank you, Mr. Daly, and excellent job on your first presentation as Finance Director.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Lewis.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually wasn't even going to comment on this item, but I think that I need to set the record straight on a couple of things. Let's start out with the police department. When SST was passed, it was a campaign to the public, Safe, Strong Torrance, that we would focus our attention on ensuring that the services that Torrance is known for, which is our public safety services, police and fire, and our city's greatest assets, which are our employees, that we were addressing those funding issues. SST has allowed us to provide contracts to our police and fire services. It's allowed us to buy equipment that was very much needed, maintain equipment that was also needed. I will point out that the fire department and both the police department have response vehicles now that are new, and we're able to even add to the fleet, to the services fleet. I believe our newer BLS program that you'll see the ambulances going out throughout the city is just very successful, to the point where we're even having to expand that program. Is that not correct, Chief Dumais?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And we're also doing some replacement vehicles in the police department, and it's allowed us to actually be the department that was at the forefront of recruiting police officers, lateral police officers. These are police officers that have already been trained, that have worked in other departments, that were able to take their experience and knowledge and incorporate them in here at Torrance by offering packages that made us very attractive to come and work for. And I believe, Chief Dunn, you correct me if I'm wrong, we've also had some successes there
Yes, ma'am, you are correct.
and in increasing our staffing. So not ever has or not ever will, and I'll talk for all 6 of us, myself included, defund the police in the city of Torrance. Not ever, not even for a piece of equipment that's needed. So let me put that rumor to rest. Secondly, the city of Torrance has been so fortunate to have our former finance director, Sheila Passan, who is top notch in the United States, I might add, award winning, and has gotten us several awards here at the city of Torrance for our budget documents and our financial acumen, who has put her knowledge, skills, and ability together to be able to move Torrance from a place that we didn't want to be to one that we have a path toward the future. And when she decided on her own to step down for the greatest reason in the world, to raise her 2 beautiful children, which I commend, what we did not want to do here at the city of Torrance is to lose that knowledge. And I'm quite sure that Ian probably would have foregone most of his salary to keep that knowledge on board too, as well. So we were able to keep her in a position that was vacant, that we did not have staff. So in order to keep that knowledge and what she's been able to do with us and be able to assist Mr. Daly, that is exactly what we should be doing for employees that have that type of ability to be able to deliver this type of analysis. Our entire finance department is pretty amazing. I see Nan sitting over here in the audience as well that helped put this report together to be able to meet the demands of the Finance and Operations Committee. Not to say that they aren't demanding, but just saying they're a little demanding. And to turn out reports and to keep questions. I myself want to thank all of you for doing that. So I just did not want to sit there and let the community think even for 1 second that we would ever defund any public safety department, that we haven't been responsible with our SST funding, and we're not putting the business of Torrance, especially where we were financially, back into place, because we have a pretty healthy reserve. And I want to go ahead and squash the rumors too going around on the internet that Torrance is broke. We were almost there, but due to SST, our financial management, the brain power sitting in this room of how we're running the city, Torrance is looking way better than it did before. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Sheikh.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Well said, Councilmember Lewis. I think let's thank our community members, our residents who passed this measure at flying colors. And I think it's a testament how much our community is involved with this process. They understood how important it is to pass the measure SST and to spend that money. And to our staff, they held their end of the bargain. They allocated this money where it needed to be allocated. Our staff, the community members, everyone is involved how to spend and get benefit from SST. Very important. Because of SST, we have the public safety as a top priority. Because of SST, we are keeping our libraries open. Because of SST, we have capital improvement. Within 2.5 years, we see how much money we have spent for capital infrastructure. Yes, it was a little slow, but you need a lot of behind-the-scene efforts to procure who is going to do the right job for the city. And again, this is all because of our community. They understood how important was to pass SST at the time we requested them. Every single person of our community and the staff need a big hand of applause for this. They're doing a great job. SSD allocation funds are available on our website. Go ahead and look at it. Where are we spending that money? It's very transparent. And who is benefiting from that? The community, the one that voted for it. The community has spoken, and the staff has responded and acted what we wanted to use these funds for. These funds did not go for promotion of any of the staff members. That's what we promised, this council promised, and that's what we delivered. And again, I want to close and thank you, every single community member who voted or who didn't vote, but they all are getting benefit for this. It is obvious, it's pretty clear where are we spending the money and how beautifying we are with using it, we're beautifying our city. Thank you again, all of you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else from the council wish to speak? All right, I'll take a motion to concur with the recommendation of the Finance and Government Operations Committee and accept and file the annual comprehensive financial report for fiscal year ending 2023-2024, accept and file fiscal year 2024-25 mid-year budget review report, and approve proposed program modifications.
So moved.
Start voting,
Second.
please.
Sorry.
Your Honor, that motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. It's 9:02, no agency agendas. Moving on to oral communications number 2. This portion of the meeting is reserved for comments on items not on the agenda. Under the Ralph M. Brown Act, City Council cannot act on items raised during public comment, but may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed, request clarification, or refer the item to staff. Speakers on the oral communications are only limited to oral communications number 1 or number 2, and no longer than 1 minute per speaker. Time starts when you step up to the microphone. If presenting handout material to council, please provide 11 copies to the city clerk before speaking. Handouts will be distributed while you speak. Anyone who has not spoken in oral communications tonight, want to speak now, please come to the microphone. Okay, I don't see any, so I will come to the council. And tonight, we start with Councilwoman Kalani.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to congratulate Ms. Kim Turner, who will be receiving a Woman of Influence Award on Thursday, so congratulations. And also a very happy birthday to, yeah, really, we need to clap for that. Thank you. And a very happy birthday to Attorney Patrick Sullivan, to our IT, Andre, and to Rebecca. Happy birthday. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. I have a feeling we're going to have more of those coming soon. Councilwoman Lewis.
We left out a birthday. Someone else has a birthday coming up, and that would be Councilwoman Kalani has a birthday coming up. So happy birthday coming up. I just wanted to give a shout out to the Torrance Theater Company. I had the opportunity of attending the first hot improv show featuring some of our super talented community members. And a lot of people don't know that our very own Viet is one of the actors there. But if you haven't had a chance to see it, it's the first Sundays of every month at the Torrance Theater Company. So if you don't have anything to do and you want a good laugh, it's a good place to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Matucci.
Nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Sheikh.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity to go to Torrance School, Torrance Elementary School for the pedestrian safety set in action event. LAPD partnered with the TUSD to have this event going on, and I hope in the next coming few years we'll have TPD to partnership with TUSD to educate our kids how to be, taken care of when they cross the streets and those things. The Children's Hospital, they were the partnership with that. Yes, thank you for reminding that. Also, happy Ramadan to all who observe Ramadan in this month. And thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Gerson.
Good night.
All right. Councilman Kaji.
I'd like to recognize our graffiti removal contractor. They continue to amaze me. I saw some graffiti at 182nd and Crenshaw. It was gone the next day. So kudos to them and also Public Works. Thank you very much. Good night.
All right. Thank you very much. Good job, city staff. I think we all recognize all the work you do, oftentimes behind the scenes. Keep up the good work. We are thankful. And I, too, want to say happy birthday to all the celebrants. Some are past, some are coming. Enjoy your day. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn tonight's city council meeting.
I move that we adjourn tonight's city council meeting until Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. Sorry, I won't be there at 5 p.m. for closed session in council chambers. March 11th is a dark night.
I think he meant to say he's going to leave us cake and ice cream because you're not going to be here. I'll second that motion.
Start voting, please.
Yep, my wife's birthday.
Your Honor, that motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Good night.